your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Chrissie is hilarious.
Chrissie, have you ever heard of the comedian Basha K. Ali?
No, that sounds like something you yell at before you blow up a plane.
Basha K. Ali!
30 seconds remaining.
But you know what, Chrissie, to say I doubt it will stand up to something. I haven't been disrespectful to you at all.
I was very confused by the title, Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that's also what we call it when Ash takes off his shirt.
I shouldn't be up here. I should be in school on the other side of the ocean.
Boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr Podcast. You can listen to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Rumble, Rockfin, Twitter, Twitch, MySpace, Friendster. No, I was kidding about those last two. Please like and subscribe. Please subscribe on YouTube. We are getting ever so close to 100K. And when I get that silver play button, baby, oh, don't you know I'm going to put it right there. Or maybe right there. Or maybe right here. Please and thank you. We have a fabulous guest on the show today. But before I bring him on, I have a quick word from our sponsor. Who is our sponsor, you ask? Well, it's the Great U.S. Treasure Hunt.
The Great U.S. Treasure Hunt. We've delivered winners from all over the U.S., awarding thousands in prize money. We've hidden 10 coins in public. And for the first time, we give the clues to their exact location in a comic book format. 10 states, 10 coins, 10 clues, $10,000. One comic book. The Great U.S. Treasure Hunt. The hunt begins October 15th. Order now. thegreatustreasurehunt.com.
Ooh, what is that, you ask? It's basically like a fun scavenger hunt where you can find coins that equal lots and lots of cash for you, basically. The Great U.S. Treasure Hunt returns in 2024 with $10,000 up for grabs. They've hidden 10 coins in 10 states, and the clues to their exact location is in a comic book. It looks just like this. And they begin mailing October 22nd. So these books have already begun to be mailed out to folks. You can get yours now with promo code CMP. Just go to thegreatustreasurehunt.com and you'll save $5 on any package. And you can see the full details there as well. You can team up with hunters from across the country to split the prize money. $500 for the solver, $500 for the finder of the coin. The coins are distributed all over the country. 5 are in states west of and east of the Mississippi. 5 different time zones. Either Hawaii or Alaska is guaranteed to have a coin. At least 2 states that border the Pacific Ocean. At least 2 states that border the Atlantic Ocean. At least two Gulf Coast states. At least 2 Great Lakes states. At least 2 state capitals will have coins. Only 2 states that border each other. The coins are hidden, not buried, so you won't need a shovel or a metal detector or any other archaeological apparatuses. Clues are in a comic book, 10 puzzles on 2-page spreads. You can use the text, the illustration, or possibly both together to solve for an exact location in the U.S. The Great U.S. Treasure Hunt has given away over $40,000 in the past, and in 2024, they're going to give away at least $10,000 more. The coins are similar to challenge coins. They have unique serial numbers on the rim. Mine is, I dropped it. You also have to take my word for it. They're very cool. They're kind of like pogs, like very thick pogs. All books will be mailed via first-class mail on October 22nd. There's no guarantee what day that will arrive to you. It depends on your local post office. No clues will be released on the website, YouTube, or any other social media for at least 2 months. So solve the puzzles in the book, partner with someone to find the coin, and enjoy your victory. Go to thegreatustreasurehunt.com right now. Get out there in the world. Get off your damn phones, okay? Go find some coins. Get your money. Get your money. And then buy yourself something nice with it. Okay. Our guest to this evening I'm so grateful he can spare some time with us because he's off to do an appearance on Fox News afterwards. He is the founder of Wrong Speak Publishing. He is an author. You may remember him when he was on to talk about his book, Black Victim to Black Victor. It was about identifying ideologies and behavioral patterns and cultural norms that encourage a victimhood complex. This guy does everything. He's a columnist for Human Events. He's written for the New York Post, Newsweek, Epic Times, and now he's an ambassador. He's a fitness model. That's right. You heard me correctly. Fitness model. Welcome back to the show, Adam B. Coleman.
Thank you for having me back.
Did you ever think you'd be a fitness model?
No. As much as I'm happy to lose weight, I always have a little bit of inner fat guy in me who is in disbelief. So no, I did not imagine that I would be modeling for anything other than like my wife.
It's so true. It's so true. If you're a person in the chat listening who's like ever been overweight and then you like do what you need to do to get to a less overweight situation, that fat person never leaves your inner monologue. Like they're always there. Just really like you have to. I feel like I'm just like a bad day away from that person taking the wheel and being in charge again. So you can't let them in the driver's seat. You gotta let the inner fat person just be in the back seat or in the trunk. You can't let them be in charge again.
Yeah, and I'm very conscious. I mean, it's been quite some time since I lost the vast majority of the weight, keeping it off. The only time I really like swung and gained weight was when I went on vacation. But I was able to lose it within like a week or two. So
okay, that's not a big deal.
Yeah. But we made a legit like lifestyle change. Like my wife, she cooks everything, and so we don't really eat out much anymore. If we do, it's like sushi. We just completely changed our lives and how we approach stuff.
Sounds boring, but that's what you have to do. No, I'm kidding. That's what you have to do to get svelte. So now you've partnered with XXXY Athletics, which I think they have such a great mission and such a great story. I'm on their website here. They're the only athletic brand that stands up for women's sports, and they're here to protect women's sports and spaces. Which is, we never thought, but 2024, I think this seems to be one of the key issues of this year is just the simple fact that we should not let men compete against women.
I don't know. Sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of unfair, but, no, you know what? And I got to know Jennifer. I met her once in person prior, and then we were following each other on Twitter and got to know her a little bit more, and got to know her even more so after teaming together. I did a video with her for my Breaking Bread video series, and really just had like an intimate conversation as far as her upbringing and why she's passionate about these particular things. And what she endured, her involvement in athletics. I didn't know her entire background. I didn't know that she was part of the U.S. Gymnast team.
Oh, wow.
I believe that's right. Yeah, she was a gymnast when she was much younger. And she talks about like the amount of physical and mental pain that you go through to compete at that level. And how much it took her a while, because it's weird. She's like, I think she said she retired like at 17 or something like that, which sounds weird. But she had to kind of put her life together. So she's overcome a lot. And I like people who've been through some shit and overcome their circumstance and end up using that pain to help other people. And she's done it besides XXXY. She's done that before with the Larry Nassar situation, but she was blowing the whistle on the things that were going on prior to Larry Nassar, and being a little bit of a pariah for saying something and calling it out until, and she was ahead of the time.
Yeah.
Then obviously when Larry Nassar came about, then everybody was like, oh, maybe she was making a point.
Now we're talking about it.
So I think, now we're talking about it. So I think she is someone who is ahead of the curve, and saw a gaping hole in supporting women within sports and just supporting truth. Like, there is nothing for her. This isn't a trans issue. This is about protecting women, and this is about fairness. And she understands, as an athlete or former athlete, how hard you have to work to reach these levels of collegiate sports and Olympic levels and things like that. And for someone who has not put in the same level of work, but has a genetic a genetic
upper hand.
Yeah. To just show up, and like the crazy stuff is like in the Olympics, where you see stuff like this dude was like 45 and hasn't lifted weights in a year, and it just broke every women's record.
That's embarrassing for us. It's like these guys aren't even in great shape. They just show up.
Yeah.
And they win. Yeah.
Just drinking beer the next day, and they show up.
Especially in a sport like gymnastics, where you could start. I mean, I started at 9, which is, you might as well start at 30 years old if you're starting at 9. It's like your boobs are coming and there's nothing you can do to stop it. But if you start like like at 4 and you bust your balls, and I mean, women don't have balls, but like if you just work your ass off, like they'll still put you out to pasture at 17. You'll be over the hill. You have so few years to make an impact in these kind of sports. To allow men, it's like you're just kneecapping a generation. So many women are gonna lose out. So that's great.
Yeah, exactly.
And to check that out, go to xx-xyathletics.com, and you can check out Adam here, modeling some things. /Adam modeling things. Maybe you'll send out like an autographed shirt. That would be fun. Or maybe something like you'll charge more if it's like a pair of shorts you worked out in, but maybe that's getting into OnlyFans territory.
Yeah, it's a little bit OnlyFans.
A sweaty pair of socks.
Yeah. There's nothing appealing about my socks. You don't want that.
Not with that attitude, Adam. There's people. I love this. I love this tweet that you shared to your page. It was written by another guy who I love, and I love his content, and I'm constantly retweeting his stuff myself. Clifton Duncan. I think it perfectly exemplifies the position that Democrats are in, and I feel like this conversation comes up every 4 years, but it seems a little bit different this year. So this is Clifton's tweet. I hope Kamala loses, not because I'm gaga for Trump or because of misogyny, or I guess maybe he's trying to say misogyny, or maybe this is like a word that I'm too dumb for, or because of her past or proposed policies. I want her to lose, and lose badly, because on her behalf, an entire political regime has unleashed a level of vitriol against Black men that I have never seen before. That at the Democrats and the polls, pundits and celebrities prostituting themselves for them are so comfortable openly disrespecting Black men shows such a deep disdain that it borders on evil. Black men are killing and dying in cities controlled by Democrats. Black boys are graduating with non-educations from public schools controlled by Democrats. Black men are experiencing economic hardship thanks to policies favored by Democrats. But worst of all, Black men are currently experiencing the most venomous vitriol I've ever seen from Black women, who are now being weaponized against them by Democrats. Black communities already suffer from disunity and dysfunction. I'm going to pause this. From disunity and dysfunction. And here is copycat Kamala's party, utilizing and exacerbating the problem for cynical politics. Not since Jim Crow have Democrats been so obviously keen on destroying Black America, but at least in the past, the destruction was done with no pretense of benevolence. Today, it's insidious, done under the guise of fighting fascism or saving democracy or destroying white supremacy. Despicable. So I hope the Harris campaign continues its strategy of shaming Black men. I hope they keep trotting out twerking, tap dancing goons, celebrities, to keep condescending to me. I hope Barack Obama keeps running his effing mouth. All it's going to do is radicalize more Black men into rejecting this bullshit. Then we'll see what Black liberation truly means. Whoo! What do you think of all that, Adam?
I 100% agree. I actually tweeted something out that got some traction, not as much traction as that, but it got some traction because I see the same thing that he's saying. I said basically, the tweet was, Black men are about 6% of the U.S. population, and they're about to get 100% of the blame if Kamala Harris loses.
Oh.
And the reason I say that is because I'm also with him. I've been paying attention to politics for years now. I'm 40. I've been paying attention to politics since like my mid 20s, maybe early 20s, like solidly paying attention to it. And I've never seen this. I've never seen this strategy of isolating a demographic of people who are iffy on you, and you say there's something wrong with them, rather than there's something wrong with what we're doing that's not reaching them. And it's not just one person. See, if it was just Barack Obama, then I could just be like, that's Barack Obama. And then no one else. But it started with Barack Obama, or maybe I'm giving him too much credit where it started with him, but it became very overt. He made it very clear. I am talking to the brothers. He made it very clear who he was talking to. Then from there, it just became this wave of people and campaign ads and response from the Harris campaign with this plan for Black men, which if you look at the plan for Black men, half the stuff is not specific for Black men. This will benefit Black men and others, right? So it's not even it's not even a specific thing for Black men. And then the other stuff will help you with crypto and weed. That's the plan for Black men. And I would juxtapose their plan for Latinos. Looks nothing like that, by the way. So then there's that. Then you see the response to that plan coming out, and you see certain Black female pundits go on television and say, hey, listen, they responded. They gave you something. Take it. Run with it. That's great. And it's like, no, this is the most half-hearted, half-assed plan for Black men I've ever seen in my life. Let's say if I even gave a shit about a plan for Black men, which I don't. If I did care, this would be incredibly insulting. If I was actually looking for something specific for Black men, I would be like, what is this? This is bullshit. This is nothing, right? It's peanuts. Some of this stuff is like, we will encourage, we will support. That doesn't mean anything. There's no action behind encourage and support. I encourage people to live a healthy lifestyle. What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. What do you like? That is just fluff.
She's gonna go with you to the grocery store and take out items that are not healthy. Yeah.
Right. Like it's just because I write, I focus on words that people use. And I focus on the words they select and the words that they don't select. And when you use words like encourage and support, those are not action words. They're really not, because encourage could be invisible. Like, how do I know? Chrissie, you may be encouraging me, and I have no idea that you're encouraging me. I have no idea because it's not
I'm
an
sending you
actionable thing.
encouraging
I will
thoughts.
pass. Right. And yes, you're sending me encouraging thoughts. Exactly. I will pass legislation. That's actionable.
Yes.
Right. But they don't give you action. They give you feel good bullshit. And so this is
look at this. Number 2, championing education. What is championing? What does that amount
what does
to?
that mean?
Championing education. You can't measure championing. Same thing. Supporting a regulatory framework for cryptocurrency and other digital assets so Black men who invest in and own these assets are protecting. How do you measure the support?
Exactly.
Oh, and you know how
You
Kamala's
don't.
going to help you, Adam? By legalizing marijuana.
That's right. Which, by the way, I would imagine, since it's listed as a class A. I forgot the classes, but it's listed as a narcotic. It's illegal. It's illegal federally. So what she's telling us is that she's going to use her political might to fight for legislation to go through to legalize marijuana. Do I believe that? Do I believe that she'll use her political capital, as difficult as it is to pass anything through the House and the Senate? She's going to fight for Black men, right, to pass marijuana legalization, even if I cared about that. But do I really believe that? No, I don't believe that whatsoever. But even more so, not every Black person is in the weed market.
Right. That's
Who
how
ca-
it
Why
how it
is
sounds. That is how this sounds. Like, you're a Black guy, so you're obviously smoking or selling. It just didn't occur to me that was, but what do I know? I'm not a Black guy. Just when I read that, I was like, oh, that makes it sound like that's what they all do.
Why not? Why not go all in? We'll make sure that crack is legal to help Black men out. Like, just go all in with the racist
Does
bullshit.
everyone get a bottle of
Like, this
Hennessy? Go to the polls.
Right. Of course. Right. This is Code 45 to federally funded Code 45 for
get
Black men and some Black and Milds.
Strawberry sodas all around.
Free grape drink.
Free grape drink at the polls. Oh no.
Not even soda, grape drink. Like, this is what they offer. And then when people say, what the fuck is this? They get more shaming. They get people who talk down to them. They get bullshit after bullshit. After this, one of their campaign marketing, whatever, I don't know his particular status. You know that dating thing that is called Pop the Balloon?
Yes.
Or
yes.
I forgot the exact title. The pop. So they did a spoof of Pop the Balloon, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was for the Harris campaign, and it was the same format. The guy says, he's answering a question. The woman's asking, "How tall are you?" "I'm 6'5". "How much money do you make?" "Over 6 figures." "Are you registered to vote?" "No, I'm not into that." And then they all pop the balloon. But it sounds like, it's tongue in cheek. But the problem is that ad is not for men. That's a shaming ad. That is an ad for the misandrous. That is an ad for the people who say, look at these stupid Black men who just won't get on board. That's who the ad's for. That ad isn't for me. That ad's not for the independent Black man who's not sure if he wants to support Kamala or stay at home or vote for Trump. That's not who it's for. The ad is for the person who wants to affirm the mockery of Black men. And I see something absolutely immoral about this, stupid from a political standpoint, as to why would you do that with any demographic. By the way, it's not just that I'm a Black male that I'm reacting this particular way. If they were doing this to Hispanic men, I would notice this and I'd be like, whoa, what is that? It's very obvious what they're doing. And so that's why I say, I see the game plan. The game plan is to set up black men as the scapegoat.
Hmm.
When Stacey Abrams failed to win her election in Georgia, they blamed black men for her failure in Georgia. And you know what Stacey Abrams has done? She, in that very tweet that Clifton was showing, that video that was playing, she's blaming black men.
Here it
She's
is.
criticizing black men.
Yeah, let's hear a little bit of that for context. Hold on.
Do you agree that black men who are not voting for Harris and who didn't vote for you, as the pastor sees it, are misogynist? As he said, misogyny is still real in our community.
I would say, number one, I know it's a shock to everyone, but sexism remains real.
So
and a very
condescending off
pertinent
the
issue.
bat.
But I want us to be really clear that Kamala Harris is doing very well with black men. Black men are the second strongest cohort of Democratic voters. What we're seeing, though, is that she is showing them due respect by actually speaking to their issues. And those issues differ from other cohorts. I'm not quite certain why there is this panic about black men voting. They vote. In fact, they vote more than their counterparts in any other community for Democrats. However, we do have to acknowledge that there is sexism, there is racism, there are challenges in our electorate, and that's why it's so important that Kamala Harris is going everywhere, talking to everyone. She respects voters, she meets them where they are, and she refuses to be told that she has lost a cohort, lost a community, simply because she's different. The best candidates recognize that you win by meeting people where they are, and Kamala Harris is doing that every single day, and we'll keep doing it for the next 14 days until we get to election day.
There's so many people coming out campaigning for Harris.
Can I give a analogy of what she just did? Stacey Abrams, what she just did was a football analogy. She's got the ball. She's on her way to the end zone. No one is even near her. And she fumbles it on the 5-yard line. She just said it. People are panicking over this. They're a cohort that has specific issues. But then she brings it back and fumbles it by saying, but there is sexism in our community. But that's not the reason why she's losing. That's not the reason why people are freaking out. That's not the reason why. If you're telling me that there's going to be a 5-point swing, which that's a whole other thing. We're talking about potentially 5%, 10% difference from 2020 to 2024. This is what we're hypothetically talking about. Then are we saying that 5 to 10% swing is half misogynist, all misogynist? Like what are we talking about here? Why would we focus on this hypothetical misogynist that exists? Which, mind you, I haven't seen any prominent black men go on television and say, I can't support a woman. I haven't seen that. So it'd be different if it was like in response to a popular black male pundit who was saying this. And then they're like, see, look, there's a problem in our community. Then they might have a point, maybe. But that's not what they're responding to. They're responding to polls. And they're not asking why this is the case. They're not caring. They've defaulted into this. And Barack Obama sounded like a fucking male feminist, defaulted to what you don't respect women in our community? You know, and then this man chastised black men, wagged his finger as our millionaire president goes back to Martha's Vineyard feeling like he accomplished something. None of these people, it's become very, very clear. None of these people within the Democratic Party give a damn about black men. Honestly, they really don't give a shit about black people. If I'm just being 100 with you, they don't care. Because if they cared, they would ask, what do you need? They would, local levels. You can't tell me that you care when these areas, you go out, if you have actual reporters, go out and talk to people. within cities like Philadelphia, within cities like Baltimore, Detroit, and you ask the average person, how are things going? They'll tell you what the problems are. And they'll tell you, we voted for your party. Matter of fact, there's no other party that's here, which is a different problem. But it's all Democrats who are here. And guess what? It's been the same problem for decades. Where you been at? And when you ask that question, how come nothing has changed? And if nothing's going to change, why the fuck should I support you? Well, how, sister, brother, get on the train. You know your place. Do your thing. Ugh. This is the condescending bullshit from the Democratic Party that I personally cannot stand. It is the party of elitists. Years ago, you might have made that argument that the Republican Party is filled with these country club, blah, blah, blah. Trump enters the mix. You know where they all go? To the Democratic Party. They all go over there. You know who's endorsing Kamala Harris? The Cheneys. You know who's like this. These are the people, the Bill Kristols of the world. They're supporting Kamala Harris. These are the same warmongers. These are the same people who are all for NAFTA, sending everyone's jobs overseas. These are the people. And they think that the working class Black man is not affected by this when they see their neighborhoods filled up with immigrants who didn't come here legally, but they get all these benefits. They turn their playgrounds into encampments. Everybody's getting stuff, everyone, but they can't get a sufficient amount of police officers to protect them. Forget welfare, forget all that stuff. Most people don't want that. They just want to feel safe in their neighborhood, but they don't get that. They get, well, you should be happy that we acknowledge you. You should be happy that we gave you a shout out. That's what they get. They get absolute bullshit. And you know what happens when you call this out? You get called a coon, not the celebrity that shows up on television saying, get in line, Black boy. You ask too many questions. Now let me go back to my LA mansion. Like this is the bullshit that constantly happens. It's why they lost me. I am done with the Democratic Party for quite some time because it is littered with elitists. I am absolutely fucking done with these people. And I am voting for Trump. I don't love Trump, but I am voting for him.
Right.
Because fuck the Democrats right about now. Like they solidified, I was like, I might stay home, but I'm like, no, fuck the Democrats right now. I'm voting for Trump. If anyone's going to stop what's happening at the border, between the two, who do I believe more? The person that's been in office who dragged her feet for the past 4 years and then suddenly cares about it when she's the one who's running for president after the DNC knocked out this old man and gave no one who's part of the Democratic Party all the voters who went to the polls to vote for Biden during the primaries, and now he doesn't get it. Now they didn't choose her; the DNC chose her, and so you're just supposed to swallow that too. By the way, as a Democrat, just swallow it because we got to defeat the orange man. All of this is a fucking game.
Yeah, and by the way, they're saving democracy by not giving you a chance to vote on a new candidate. Because Trump is a fascist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trump is the fascist. Trump's the fascist, of course. But as much as they give this Hitler analogy, you know what Hitler didn't do? Hitler didn't wait to a second term. Hitler didn't wait 4 years.
True.
Right? This is the histrionics of this. And they employ fear as much as everything that they say. And listen, fear is used in politics. It's a bipartisan thing. I can name examples from the right where there's fear that's used. But they don't have any substance with Kamala Harris. She was a poor candidate in 2020. She didn't get any delegates.
Nope.
This is a woman who's been untested all the way. The only reason why she's a VP is because Biden explicitly said, I am looking for a Black woman.
Yep.
And he had a list of Black women. Remember when Democrats freaked out when was it Mitt Romney said, I have a binder filled with women?
Right.
They freaked out because
over it. They're like, oh my God, you need a binder?
They couldn't get over it. And then here Biden goes, and I wrote an article about this for Newsweek. Biden goes publicly and says, I'm looking for a black female. And you know why Biden said that? Because all these other bourgeoisie black people, especially bourgeoisie black females like Stacey Abrams, were like, a black female should get in there. A black female, he should pick her. That's why. And so you know what he did? He said, to shut them up, I'm going to pick someone. And they picked the person who has no moral stance, who will do whatever it takes to gain power, who has never tested in California, didn't run against any sort of Republican, bumped elbows with all these people in California to get a Senate seat. You know, all you got to do is make a ton of friends with a bunch of billionaires and millionaires. That's all you got to do. You'll get enough. That's all it takes. She's been untested. And when she got tested in 2020, she was out. Tulsi Gabbard kicked this woman to the curb in one debate, disappeared.
Yeah.
And you're telling me this is the best woman to run this country? This is not even just woman. This is the best person. Is this the best person to run this country? Now, as much as I don't love Trump, there are things about Trump that I like and things that I don't like. He's just like any other politician. But he was here, and prior to COVID, the country seemed fine. Last I checked, he didn't start any new wars. Last I checked, the economy was doing good. I was talking to people who didn't like Trump, who were like, man, if the economy keeps this way, I'm voting for him next time. Trump would be in office if it wasn't for COVID. 1,000%. But when you got all these people, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, it seems like the Democratic Party, every 4 years, it seems they have the same talking points. They pay the same lip service to the black community, or namely black men. What is it so different about this time that is making more black men wake up?
Because it's so overt, you cannot ignore it. See, it's one thing to be like, hey, you voted for these people, you're not getting much from it. And you're like, yeah, I guess, yeah. But when they see you just asking some questions, every voter is allowed to ask questions. You're talking about giving someone so much power, and we're supposed to vet them. We get one vote for president. Each of us get one vote. We're allowed to ask questions before we take our single vote. This is what people don't grasp. We have one form of power as a voter. It's just one vote. And so we're supposed to take that single vote and just take it for granted. We're not supposed to ask any sort of questions. It is the most asinine thing that I've ever seen, where they take people who are asking questions of voters. The whole goal of politics is to convince someone, even if you use fear, you're trying to convince them that this fear is legitimate, so vote for me. But you're supposed to convince them, give them something, tell them why. And they're so overt that they just wag their finger at black men. It is the weirdest, most condescending, elitist behavior I've ever seen within politics. Before I can read between the lines, it was elitist behavior, it was condescending bullshit. But this is so overt that what's been happening, the area where she's weak, their campaign is so bad and so disconnected from the average American, including Black Americans, that they cannot see how elitist that they are, how disconnected from the average person that they are.
Yeah, they're like, but we're gonna legalize weed. Come on, guys. Have you noticed? Because it seems much more so this election cycle. It seems like they are, especially from that clip we just watched. It seems like they're trying to pit Black women against Black men. I don't think this was a tactic 4 years ago or 8 years ago.
Not overtly. See, this is nothing new, but it's never been this blatant. And I think if certain people in certain circles, if you pay attention, you see that there is a cultural thing that's at play. But I will say that look at the notoriety, look at the wallets, look at the celebrity of the people who are explaining these messages. We're talking about millionaire Black people going on television complaining about the hesitancy of the working class Black man. That's what we're really talking about. but it's framed as this racial thing. Oh, what's wrong with black men? They have the same concerns as working class white men, working class Latino men. They have the same situation of going to the grocery store or sending their wives to the grocery store and coming back, and they don't have as much food because they can't afford it. They have the same issues. And they're told, well, just get on board, black man. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And Kamala wants to pretend that we can ignore that she is not the vice president and she is not attached to Joe Biden, while simultaneously going on television and saying, I wouldn't have done anything different.
Oh, that was
She
such
wouldn't
an
have done
L.
anything
That was such
different.
an L for her. Oh, and then she'll go and say, well, I'm not Joe Biden, and I bring my own ideas to it. It's going to be different. And it's like, but at the same time, she says she's been involved with every major decision. She's been in the Oval Office. She's been in the, what's the room?
Yeah.
The panic room or whatever, the decision room. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so it's like, which is
One of
it?
those rooms.
Which is it, Kamala? Yeah. Which is it, Kamala? Have you been involved or have you not been involved? She
all the above.
Yeah. She screwed the border. I love this comment from Erica here. It's weird to see how they pandered to the whole white dudes for Harris thing versus shaming black men for not falling in line. It's like it's different, methods of propaganda, I guess, that they're using.
And what's fascinating for me looking at this is how, all right, actually a perfect example, Sunny Hostin, or however you say her name, from The View. There's a clip that was circulating. She's saying how we need to reach these people, right? She's saying we as Democrats. She's like, we need to reach these people. She's like, we need to reach the 50% of women. I think she said white women. Yeah, 50% of white women who are voting for Trump. We need to reach these Latino men who are voting for Trump. We need to reach these ridiculous, crazy black men who are voting for Trump.
No way.
I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? Like, that's what I'm talking about. She said this on ABC, daytime television.
Like, how dare you have a difference in opinion?
And this is what I'm talking about. This is the vitriol. And so what people are not understanding, it's not just the black man is hesitant, right? It is the annoyance. Black men are annoying. And even if you do vote for Kamala Harris, you're supposed to do that. You're not supposed to get praised for doing the thing you're supposed to do. Just go out there and vote.
Where's the respect? Where's the reverence? Where's the, are you getting your needs met? Are you being heard?
Zero. And it's to some credit. What's her name? Shoot. Nina, was it? Oh, I feel bad. She's
Whoopi Goldberg.
A progressive, and I generally do not. No, man. She's big on Twitter.
The chat knows.
Describe
them.
She's from Ohio. She was a politician from Ohio for a little bit. I think she was a congresswoman. I think it's Nina.
Nina Simone?
Coming to my head.
No,
Nina Simone.
She's a singer.
She wears those glasses. She's a progressive. I think she promoted Bernie.
Nina Turner?
When he was first running.
Is it Nina Turner?
Is it Nina Turner?
I'm Googling it. It's bringing up articles about La Nina. That's not what I wanted.
I could be wrong about Nina. I forgot. But she went on CNN and actually, yeah.
Is it Nina Parker?
Funny. It may not even be Nina. I might be butchering this. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on her name right now. But she went on and she's a progressive. And she says, guys, listen, black men have their questions. And it is not fair to lay everything at the feet of black men or to chastise them. Now, she was coming from a perspective of there is a history of going after Black men in this country. So she's coming from a different angle, but she understood and she saw the level of vitriol that was coming towards this, the Black men who were mysteriously misogynistic and all this other stuff. But she understood there's hesitancy for a reason. You need to reach out to them, ask them why they're hesitant, understand what's going on. Maybe it's something you're doing, because it is something that the Democrats are doing or not doing. But her and maybe one other person that I can't think of off the top of my head have publicly, and these are Black females, publicly said, this ain't good look. But let me tell you, there's been a lot of allowance
It's Nina Turner.
for this. There's a lot of Nina. Is it Nina Turner? Okay, I couldn't remember
I trust Eli.
if that was her or
Thank
not.
you, Eli.
But yeah, so she went on CNN and said this, and Politics Girl was sitting across from her and had the stare of death from the white liberal woman, just like, what do you mean we can't ridicule Black men? Like, she had that look on her face. It was fucking hilarious.
I mean,
But
I don't even think there's anything wrong with being sexist. Sorry, like, what's wrong with that? I mean, that's one of the many reasons why I can't stand Kamala. It's like I wouldn't want someone like her running my household. I wouldn't want someone like her as even a girlfriend. I'm sorry, she can't hold her own. She's not respectable. She's not. I mean, you imagine her dealing with like Putin, dealing with like Kim Jong, whoever's in charge of North Korea. Like, I don't see anybody taking her seriously. She's shrill. She uses cackling as a method of changing the conversation. She doesn't command respect. She talks in circles. And the Brett Baer interview really was so fascinating to me because it really showed her. Anytime you see her speaking in a long format, like anything long form, basically anything other than just sound bites, you go, oh wow, she really dances around the subject. She really doesn't hold to the questions. She doesn't really answer anything. She just like says a bunch of things that kind of sound smart and sound like she's answering it. And then if you correct her, like Brett tried to and was like, well, actually, can you answer this? She goes, no, I'm speaking. Let me be very clear. She'll keep saying, let me be clear, but then not say anything. And
right.
So is it sexist to not want someone like that in charge of my country? No. And yeah, she's a woman. Sorry, call me sorry. I guess I'm sexist then. Big deal. What would you rather? I'd rather be a sexist and not have roast beef be $18 a pound. I guess I'd rather be sexist and, not letting in like millions of illegals getting a bunch of free shit. And it's just there's so many reasons. Like, what's wrong with being a sexist? Sorry. Of all the insults you could be in 2024, it's like, let's embrace it. What's so wrong with being sexist, I guess?
Well, for me, and I'm speaking passionately because I think there is something immoral that is happening. I'm not personalizing. I made my choice. Like, I don't care if people like my choice or not. I made my choice. I'm comfortable with my choice. If you want to vote for Kamala, vote for Kamala. I really don't care who people vote for, because my mindset, and I'm motivated by completely different things than other people. They have whatever they see is what they see, and that's what they want. Vote for whatever you want. I'm a free speech oriented person, and I'm a free vote person. Vote for whoever you want, for whatever reason that you want. I just think that it is dumb. It is a dumb political strategy when the name of the game is to get as many votes as possible. Why would you target and insult a group of undecided voters? Why would you do that? And the only reason that I could come up with as to why you would target and insult a demographic, a very small, specific demographic of people, is because you just don't like them and don't care for them. You take them for granted. They're supposed to vote Democrat. Not that we hope that they continue voting Democrat. It's a completely different mindset. It's an entitlement issue that we're dealing with. And mind you, that conversation that we're talking about here on CNN, that clip that you showed, Stacey Abrams, once again, we're talking about, hypothetically, a 5% difference. 5%. The way that they're responding to 5% is like half of Black men or half of Black people are voting for Trump.
Wow.
That is the way that they're framing it.
Wow.
That is how much they're freaking out about it.
And I wouldn't have known that they were freaking out so much until they started saying, like, I'm like, oh, I guess you're showing your cards. I guess you guys really are panicking. I didn't know it was a thing.
Yeah, very much so. If Barack Obama took it upon himself to stand in front of a bunch of Black men, to wag his finger at Black men, and even said some dumb shit like, you're lucky that Michelle's not here. Who are you?
What is Big Mike going to do? Pull out her dick and scare everyone with the polls? Big Mike, show your poll.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not going to do anything. Wow. So out of touch.
But that's, you said it before. It's the disrespect. And I've just never seen any sort of, especially for a presidential election, I've never seen the outright disrespect, especially for a small group of people. The next closest thing I can think of is when Hillary Clinton called people deplorables.
Oh, yeah.
Which was a huge mistake, right? That is a terrible strategy.
They took it as a badge of honor,
after voters.
And now it's like a colloquial kind of bad. Yeah, it's like they call themselves. We call ourselves deplorables.
Right. You don't do that because you alienate voters. And then the people who are undecided see how you treat them and they're like, you know what? F these people. Like, that's what they really think. When you let people talk long enough, they show you who they are. Like, you just have to pay attention to what they're saying and why they're saying it. And it's become very clear. I pay very close attention to what people say, and I pay attention to what they're not saying. The differences between how they treat people. It is very clear what's about to happen. If Kamala Harris loses, they're about to blame me. I'm part of the 6% demographic. They're about to blame these crazy Black people, as Sonny puts it, these crazy, ridiculous Black men. They're about to blame us for their failures. That's what they're about to do. I even tweeted this. I can see it. The Atlantic, the Washington Post, the surge of white supremacy amongst Black men. Like, that's what they're about to do. They're about to make us the scapegoat for the Democrat Party's failure. They're about to make us the scapegoat for the DNC saying, we'll just swap out this corpse of a man called Joe Biden and put in this clueless woman who was a terrible candidate 4 years ago. And, well, you know what? It's their fault. It's the 6%.
And it's
their
sexism.
Fault.
It's not
That's what they're about to do.
It's not that she's a terrible candidate. It's sexism. But don't worry, Adam, because the insane clown posse is here to save the Democratic Party because they have endorsed Kamala. I thought this was a fake. I still might think this is fake.
I thought please tell me that's a Babylon Bee. That's
maybe it is. The insane clown posse endorses Kamala. Man. But they have a lot.
The Juggalos have supported Kamala.
Eminem, Lizzo campaigning for her. Gosh,
Diddy is endorsing her
wherever he is. Oh my gosh!
I actually tweeted out a joke tweet. I said, "Breaking news: Diddy has endorsed Kamala Harris," and put in quotes. Shit, what did I say? So I'm like, I like her strategy. I respect how she emasculates men. I respect that. Gamer, So yeah, all of this is fucking stupid.
It really is.
By the way, as dumb as it is right now, it's about to get even dumber.
Ooh, what's gonna happen, Adam? What's your prediction? I feel like I see the polls doing well for Trump. I'm hesitant to get my hopes up because I'm just like, well, what new bullshit is gonna pop off this time? You know, they're talking about, oh, it's gonna
Yeah.
take Maricopa County 2 weeks to count their votes when you know, I think it takes all of Argentina 6 hours to count their votes. Like, there's no reason why it should take more than a day, more than a few hours to count votes, but there's so much fortifying going on that it takes 2 weeks.
Fortify. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I think I don't know. I think there's effort to make it. Oh, did I lose you?
No,
Oh,
yeah,
no,
there's effort to
okay.
make it more difficult and give space for things to happen, is what we'll say. Matthew Hammond says, will Democrats lose Black men for a generation, or will they forget about the disrespect they have received this election cycle?
I will say this. I think this election cycle is the seed has been planted. I can't tell you how many people, how many Black men especially, who even just like 4 years ago, I wouldn't have seen this many people speak publicly in reaction to what Democrats were saying. And these aren't people who are like, you know, commentators and stuff like that. I'm just talking about regular people. People just go on TikTok and rant about stuff. I can't tell you how many Black men are comfortable speaking publicly and saying, no, you're not going to talk about us like that. You're not going to talk down to us. You're not going to disrespect us. I don't like it. And fuck you. Like that type of response, I did not see 8 years ago whatsoever. I don't want people to get their expectations too high. I don't think it's going to be Black men are voting, you know, 60% for Kamala Harris, like some major drop off. But it may be 5 to 10% better than Trump's last election. It may be that. And that is significant as far as a starting point. That's why I think what's been happening in the past 2 to 3 weeks, the seed has been planted, and people are going to remember as to what exactly has been going on. And all you need is just the right amount of people to say, nah. Like, I'll tell you this. I was working on a piece for the New York Post. It ended up not getting published, but I talked to, and this is prior to Kamala. This is when Joe Biden was still running. I talked to, I want to say it was like eight Black Americans. Oh, yeah, sorry, with some of my camera. It was like 8 Black Americans who were in Georgia, you know, swing state. And I asked them very particular questions. Who are you supporting? What are your top issues? But I asked them all, what does your circle look like? Who are they supporting? Your friends, coworkers, family. No matter if they told me they were Democrats and they're definitely voting for Joe Biden, they don't like Trump, they all said that their friendship circle, coworkers, is mixed. And I was shocked by that. For one, that they knew, so people felt comfortable enough to be like, nah, I'm not liking this. And that everyone told me, and these are professionals. So these are professionals in professional settings, a college degree type of individuals. And for them to tell me that their Black friends, family members, coworkers, it's mixed. And mixed as in voting for Biden at the time, not voting or supporting Trump. I thought that was significant. That was very significant. And I think it's only gotten worse. And just based off of polling, Kamala has worse polling numbers than Joe Biden did for Black Americans. That's significant.
And he's the one who said, if you don't vote for me, you're not Black. Ugh. One of the cringiest lines of all
Yeah.
time.
Yes. So there is a recent history. There are people who are saying, I think polling says that, I think it was like 72%, something like that, 72% of Americans think that the country's headed in the wrong direction under this administration,
it's
not under
79.
Trump.
It's 79%.
Yeah. Under this administration, Kamala Harris is attached to this administration, and the people are saying we're headed in a bad direction. And for me to think that this is going to result in her winning, I'm not trying to make some sort of prediction, but I have a hard time believing that polling after polling after polling showing that people are not liking the state of the economy. They're holding not Trump, Biden responsible for the state of the economy because things got significantly more expensive under Biden.
Mm-hmm.
And so why would they by default go for Kamala? And the only thing that Kamala has is that she's not Trump. That's quite literally it. That's all she has. And what I've said before from a political standpoint, last election was a referendum on Trump. He's the one who's in office, the state of the economy. It was a referendum on Trump. This election, it's a referendum on the Biden administration. It's not a referendum on Trump. We already know who Trump is.
Right.
You either, if you love him, great. If you hate him, whatever. Right? But this is not a measurement on Trump. Trump's not the one in office. The measurement is on Kamala Harris and her attachment to the Biden administration. And she has to walk this weird dance of being in office, but not being responsible, but supporting everything that Joe has done. And Joe's been great. Joe is mentally fit, but he dropped out because he's not mentally fit. Well, you have to talk to Joe about that. Like, it's been this weird, stupid game that she's had to dance. And I just don't think people are going to buy it. That's all.
Yeah.
So and no one believes her. No one believes her.
Even I think the least politically savvy people can go, okay, the country is worse. Things are more expensive. The border's out of control. Kamala is with the current administration. Trump isn't. I think that, anybody can put that together, and they don't have to be glued to the TV or constantly researching or reading all the policies to know that. So yeah, it's interesting.
And just like a little bit of a political, not secret, but like a political framework. When people talk about politics, often we talk about fluff nonsense, right? Many of the things that we've been discussing, 90+% of people will never see. Most people aren't going to see that Stacey Abrams clip or anything like that. But there are top two things that people care about. Their safety and their economics. And economics always comes first. They could hate Trump, but if their money is great, the stock market's taking off and jobs are escalating through the roof, and the economy not only looks good on paper, but feels good to them in their wallet, then they're going to support Trump without a doubt. They will overlook anything as long as their money is right. And the second thing is safety, which links into, I think my stupid camera keeps cutting out. The safety, which links into illegal immigration, right? If you don't have a secure border, then you're not secure as a country. And so people see that. And then the illegal immigration seeps into the economics, especially for the poor and working class American. Because guess what? Those people who are out right now striking for CVS, oh, you want to strike? No problem. We'll bring up this dude who just crossed in from Honduras, this dude who just swam over from Haiti. You know what they'll do? They'll work for minimum wage and they will not complain. You will be replaced. This is the threat of low-skilled labor within our country from illegal workers.
Yeah, and all the while that's happening, your tax dollars are subsidizing them while they take jobs away.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. I used to work for I used to work for a staffing agency. It was a low skilled labor staffing agency. And I saw how it operates. The staffing agency would post up in places where there are high amounts of Hispanic workers. Their statuses are questionable. And the only times that they would ever check, because I can't remember the system, but there's a system that you can check to see if someone is legally of legal status. The only time they would check is if the employer requests it.
Oh,
that's it.
Wow.
And the vast majority did not request. And so they would have these pick and packing people in their warehouse. They'd be in their factories, and they would line them up and get them jobs, do the work, and pay them minimum wage. And you know what they do? They do the work, they do it good, and they don't complain. This is a reality that's been happening for years. This isn't anything new. It's only getting worse, and it's in everyone's face. So Americans have been replaced in many, many ways for quite some time by foreign workers, right? Not legal foreign workers, by illegal foreign workers. It's just that it's been gradual, slowly, and under the radar. And the poor people who are losing these jobs, right? Because maybe this could be their opportunity to escalate in the economic ladder, or at least have some sort of income to take care of their family. They lose out on these jobs. And because they're getting illegal workers, they don't have to pay above minimum wage. They'll pay minimum wage and get these illegal workers.
Yeah, are they getting benefits? Who knows? Probably not. Maybe it's just cash under the table.
Most often, and this is a thing when it comes to agencies. If you're going through an agency, the agency may be able to help get them healthcare, but if they're doing something with the government, see, that's the weird part about all of this, is that everything is kind of like in the dark. Like, you don't know if people are using fake names. Are they applying for government stuff? Are they using someone who is legal to get services under their name? Like, man, I get DoorDash stuff. It says one name and somebody else pops up. Like, like it's just, and the person, I don't know where they're from.
You don't know who took a bite out of your sandwich. Yeah.
Exactly. So like there's so many things that are legally questionable that are happening in our society. But what's happening at the border, by them sending these people to other states, by it being so dramatically crazy in the past 4 years, it's everyone's problem now. And so I partly think that it was a good thing that they did it, because it woke people up as to what exactly is going on. It's been happening for quite some time. It's just been a slow drip, but the past 4 years, they turned on the faucet all the way.
Yeah, it's unavoidable now. K-Max, thank you for the Orange Boy super chat. This victimhood complex must come from media manipulation. Joy Reid and Al Sharpton get promoted by the media, never a Black conservative or one who doesn't want to play a victim. I think it's the media's fault. Do you agree?
I think the media has a role, for sure. I think it's become cultural. I even think down to the whole idea of having a civil rights movement being a Black movement, right? Which at one point may have been a necessity, but now you created an industry. And now who's going to fill that vacuum after Malcolm X is gone and Martin Luther King is gone? Well, that's when you get the Al Sharptons, and that's when you get the Reverend Jesse Jays, right? You get these people who obviously seem shady and crooked, especially Al Sharpton. Like, so you get this whole idea that there needs to be some sort of Black representation. Who gets to speak for the Black people? When's the last time you turned on MSNBC and saw the Asian representation, the Latino representation?
Right.
You don't, right?
That's
but for Black people, we get some sort of, some sort of representation that no one selected. They just appointed. They just said, well, he says he's representing Black people, so let's put him on. Sure, okay, of course. We'll well, Al Sharpton said this. Well, of course, that's what Black people are feeling. Al Sharpton lives in the nicest area in New York City. Al Sharpton is a millionaire, right? And you should question where he gets his money from. Al Sharpton is as establishment as it is. Like, these people are such shills,
Yeah,
and they
they're
wear
hustlers.
being Black as a cover.
Who would be the Asian Al Sharpton? Like, I'm gonna say,
Ken Jeong.
yeah, Ken Jeong. Yeah, he would be great.
He's like, I got in a trunk of a car for you.
Right. Everyone saw me naked. Matthew Hammond. Since LBJ, Democrats have used the threat of ostracizing Black people from their community if they did not vote Democrat. If Black men leave the Democrat Party, then it will break the guaranteed votes.
Well, that's what everybody's hoping for. I mean, I think we're fighting against cultural normalcy too. Because what a lot of people don't understand, being Black for a lot of people is beyond just like the color of my skin. It's much like saying I'm Italian, right?
Mhm.
It is a cultural reference point because there isn't a nation to point towards, right? Because that like if I say I'm Italian, well, you have a language, you have a geographical location,
Hand gestures,
you have cultural differences, you have
Mhm.
food, all types of stuff, hand gesture. You have an entire cultural
tank
thing.
top,
And so for many Black Americans, Adidas wear,
sandals with socks, gold chains.
Yeah, exactly. But for many Black Americans, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about a cultural influence. And so part of that culture is figuring out, well, what exactly is in our culture? And so the things that seem familiar suddenly become part of the culture, you know. And my camera went out again.
It's okay. They had you on frozen on a good face.
Yeah, it'd be terrible if it was bad.
It's like what you're saying too.
But that's what,
like young liberal women too. I mean, I remember like being when I was college age, it was like, oh, of course you're gonna vote Democrat. If you're not, it means you're just not a good person. And I didn't think about it more than that. I was like, what do you hate gay people? And then that was it. I was like, it was just part of it was just part of the deal. And you didn't look into it. Wow.
Yeah.
It's just cultural. Yep. Original Hawk Tua girl. If you don't vote for me, you ain't Black. Oh, yep. We remember that.
The original Hawk Tua girl.
Right, and it's Kamala. Oh, I missed that. That's funny. Wow. And just it is very telling. See, and like you said, it's a very small percentage of the vote that is going to Trump, but it's enough to make them completely freak out over it because they must know that it's the beginning of a new chapter.
Yeah. And that's why they seem so desperate. A lot of the things that are happening in the past couple weeks have been the result of desperation by the Harris campaign. And it's also been the result of just a generally bad campaign. Because if I'm to be a little bit fair, Kamala Harris is set up to fail. Because every presidential candidate campaigns for like a year to a year and a half.
Right.
She was given a few months to convince Americans.
Well, they had to do it that way, right?
This is the ego.
They had to do it that. They probably didn't think Trump would still be alive. Also, they just were like, this is the only way we can do it, that we can install her, basically. Because if they did it sooner, if they didn't have Biden and Trump debate, back in June, like if they took him out sooner, people would have been like, well, we should vote on someone. So they waited, like, I think to the absolute last minute so that they could justify keeping Kamala in there.
Right. Yeah, it's that kind of, yeah. I've lost my train of thought. Sorry.
Because they didn't She was set up to, right. I actually interrupted you because you're
Oh
talking
yeah,
about
yes, yeah,
she was
yeah,
set up to fail because normally
yeah.
a candidate gets a year. I mean, when did Trump announce that he was running again? It had to have been, was it in 2022? I feel like
I think
he announced early
he
on.
yeah, I want to say it was last year, if I remember correctly. I forgot when the Republican primaries were, when Iowa was. I can't remember. My memory's not good right now,
Someone in the
especially because
chat
it's late.
knows.
But yeah, it's usually because you still have the primaries. You go through this entire process. You develop a campaign. You might have to hire and fire people. You find the right consultants. You have to gain a ton of money. They basically just said, well, there's a bunch of money from Joe Biden Kamala can use, and they were able to shovel it over to her and say,
Right.
well, you got enough money, you can win this. But I'm like, well, that money is used for something. It's used for campaign ads. It's to knock on doors, hire people. Like all that stuff takes time. That's why it takes a year, right? I mean, I don't think it should take a year, but this is like the normal process. But she's given basically, was it 3 months?
Wow. Right.
Was it July? I think it was July.
It was July.
So that's what it is. And this is the ego of the Democrats. Oh, we'll just swap her out. Tell people this is the best thing for democracy.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe is a hero for stepping aside. Joe didn't want to step aside. Joe is the most petty man right now.
Oh yeah.
Joe is so low key petty.
He's so upset. Wasn't he seen mouthing to Obama like she's weak or she's soft or I'm so much tougher than her? Like he probably just feels just like an old crusty man right now. And she's getting all his
and you
money.
know what's funny? Yeah. And what's funny is that he's probably right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I wonder if some people are like regretting the choice, like regretting they probably didn't realize how bad she would be. And they probably thought, well, we can't put in Newsom because he's another white guy. And who else were people talking about? People were talking about Big Mike. Big Mike stayed out of the spotlight.
Anybody else that would be good would never run for president in 3 months.
True.
Never.
Ugh, yeah.
They would never do that. And on top of that, they had the treasure trove of money that that was already part of the campaign. So that's what they were able to use for Kamala. Whereas if it was a new candidate, they would essentially have to start fresh. Now, granted, they'd be able to get a bunch of money, but would they be able to get enough money? It's no real candidate who really wants to become president would ever want to sign up. It's why they just went straight to the conference and just, Kamala's the person. They just went straight for it.
And she can't be enjoying this, Kamala. She can't be. She's not having a good time. She's not happy. She doesn't feel like she's doing well.
Yeah, she's not built for this at all. I mean, if you notice, every interview that she does is about 25 minutes.
Which is so short.
That's it.
Yeah. And then you got Trump.
It's very short.
Trump,
because she's not built for this.
Who's doing Rogan? They say Trump's they said he's recording it on Friday, but who knows? Maybe they're just saying that. Because I imagine Joe doesn't want, his studio and surroundings swamped with people. So who knows? Maybe it's recorded already. Maybe they're keeping it vague so that people aren't hanging around out there. And that's a 3-hour podcast. Can you imagine Kamala doing a 3-hour podcast?
No. And I would be shocked if she did even an hour with Joe Rogan. I can see the campaign setting up all types of stipulations. It has to be this long. She has a hard out at this time. She has to.
Her handlers have to be visible, right? She has to wear her her earrings that tell her all the answers. From Not the Bad Man, Kamala didn't study the book for the past 3.5 years. Now her report is due. That is exactly how she comes off. She comes off like she's in pop quiz mode and she's freaking out and she has to just fake it till she makes it. And I don't think she's able to fake it. Adam, I know you got to run to your next appearance. Tell the fine people where they can find you, what's coming up, what you're working on, and anything else.
Yeah, they can follow me on Twitter at wrong_speak. I am always on Substack, just letting people know the different appearances and things like that I've been doing. And what else? I feel like there's a whole bunch of stuff.
Your
Obviously, XXXY.
XY.
Yeah. Definitely go to the link, the referral link on the screen. xx-xy athletics.com/Adam. Yeah, and check out the Substack, adambcoleman.substack.com.
And your book.
I have different writings on there. Oh, and that's what I meant to tell you. I'm working on my second book.
Yes.
It's been a while, but I'm working on it. I am not saying the title, but I will say that it's about childhood abandonment.
I thought you were going to say it was about comedians. I was about to get so excited. But no, childhood abandonment.
Same difference.
That's what leads to comedians anyway.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Cool. I can't wait to get it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be good. So I would say April-ish next year.
Okay. That's coming up. Everyone follow Adam on Twitter at _wrong_speak. Adam Coleman, adambcoleman.substack.com, xx-xyathletics.com/Adam. Adam Coleman, thank you so much for coming back on the show. Always good to have you. And,
my pleasure.
And Trump 2024, everybody. Thank you in the chat for your comments and questions. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.